Welcome, everybody, to the Heal Your Hunger show. So happy to have you here. It is a great day to be alive, and I am so grateful that you're here today because I want to talk to you about something really important and honestly something that has touched my life very personally, and that's gaslighting. Now, the term gaslighting originated from the 1938 play Gaslight, later adapted into a film called Gaslight by Patrick Hamilton. And in the play, a husband manipulates his wife to make her doubt her own sanity by dimming their gaslights and denying that anything has been changed, causing her to question her perception of reality. This is a tactic of psychological manipulation, and it became the basis for the term gaslighting. Okay, that's a little bit of an extreme example, of course, but I think as emotional eaters, we often have been very vulnerable to this tactic of gaslighting, even if it's not a conscious effort on someone else's part. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. If you're an emotional eater, you might already know that you're a sensitive soul. You feel things deeply and you care deeply, and you often take on blame and guilt that isn't even yours to carry. You picking up what I'm laying down here? And because of that, you can be an easy target for people who use gaslighting to control, manipulate, or make you doubt your reality. And it truly is crazy making. And I know this myself because I've been there. I've been in situations, relationships, where I constantly questioned my own memory and my own feelings. And it took me years to understand that it wasn't me, it was manipulation. So in this episode, I'm going to break down what gaslighting is, why we emotional eaters tend to fall for it, and how it keeps us stuck in self-doubt and guilt. And most importantly, how you can spot it, stop it, and protect your beautiful, sensitive heart. I'll also share some of my own stories along the way so you know you're not alone in this. Now, here's a few examples of gaslighting. Like someone denies that they said or did something. They're like, I never said that. And then you start thinking you're crazy. Ever been there? Or others minimize your feelings like, oh, you're too sensitive. Like, don't be so sensitive. And as emotional eaters, we hear that all the time because we are sensitive and often overly sensitive. And so people can dismiss what we have to say or how we feel by saying, oh, don't be so sensitive. And because we are sensitive, it's easy to say, oh, they're right. But that doesn't mean that they're right overall about the issue at hand. It just means we are sensitive, but still, we may be needing to really stand for ourselves and not be dismissed. And when somebody's gaslighting you, they're dismissing you, okay? They're also turning blame back on you, like you're imagining things. And I will say, I've had this experience because I sometimes can be forgetful. My short-term memory sometimes isn't stellar. And so sometimes it's easy for somebody who has been in a relationship with me, maybe in a business setting or whatever. But, when they know this about me, it's easy to say to me, you're remembering it wrong, or you're forgetting something, or I said this and you just forgot. And it's hard for me because sometimes I'm like, maybe I did forget. I can be forgetful, and so that's another way that I've been gaslit. So this is so damaging as emotional eaters because it creates chronic self-doubt. It erodes self-trust, like you don't know if you can trust your memory. You don't know if you can trust your gut. And it obviously leads to overeating because when you feel like you're going crazy or you feel like you're not being heard, or perhaps that somebody has more strength than you, or you need to rely on them for their memory, for their perspective on things, it disempowers us and makes us feel like we need to console ourselves with food because our life feels like it's being turned upside down. So this is really important. And as emotional eaters, we are so vulnerable because we are highly sensitive. And so we pick up on other people's moods. Like, have you ever been in a room and there's like, everybody's fine, and there's one person who's angry. We know it. We feel it. We're sensitive and we are empaths and we pick up on their energy. And then before you know it, we're trying to do a little dance to cheer them up. Oh my God, I've done this so many times and it's terrible. Or there's someone in your family who's constantly angry or is close to being angry and they control the narrative in the family. Like when there's somebody in the family who's quick to anger, all of a sudden everybody's energy is codependent with that person's energy. Like they're doing this positioning so as to not get yelled at or not be on that person's bad side. I've seen it time and time again. When somebody has a strong personality and angers easily, it affects the entire family and how they interact. Because everybody's walking on eggshells, trying not to piss that person off or not to be on their blacklist. And it's really emotional blackmail, okay? It's not only gaslighting, it's emotional blackmail where everybody's behavior is influenced by that one person's strong personality and tendency to anger easily. Now, if you wonder if you're being gaslit, here are some questions for you. First, do you frequently feel confused after talking to somebody? Oh my God, I've done this. Do you apologize a lot, even when you're not at fault? Do you find yourself saying, I'm sorry, or to get out of intense conversation, just owning responsibility, even when you don't believe it? Do you second guess your memories or your feelings or what you said? Do you find yourself walking on eggshells? And is the person that you suspect might be gaslighting you, does that person twist things so you always end up feeling guilty and apologizing? Wow, what a list. I can say yes to all of these in some situations, okay? And the fact is, if you said yes to many of these, you may be experiencing gaslighting. So I want you to know, trust your heart. It's not your fault. Somebody is exercising power over you and influence over you. So I'm going to share a quick story for me around gaslighting. And sadly, it comes from my former husband, whom I love to this day. I mean, we divorced, but we were still in each other's lives. But, one of the reasons why I left him was because for years, and it was a tricky situation, he had been my mentor at one time. So it is not a typical situation. And he had been my mentor, and then he became my husband, which I don't recommend. Don't marry your guru, please. Because there are messed up dynamics, clearly. But anyway, because he knew so much about me, because he had been the person I listened to and whose counsel I followed, it was messy and it was difficult for me to separate out where I begin and he ends and vice versa. And so it was easy for me to be vulnerable to his saying, no, this is how it is. And my saying, oh, okay, you're the stronger one. You're the one who's known me for so long. But there came a time in my relationship, honestly, and it was a big deal for me. There was a time in my relationship where I had to say, no, you're wrong. Like your perspective on things, first of all, has not been updated. Like you helped me heal. And I am now standing in my power as somebody who has healed, not cured, but has healed. This is a new version of me. So don't treat me as my old version. Update your file, dude. Update your file. You helped me to the point where I am a strong, capable, intelligent, empowered woman. So when he would give me feedback, it was based on my old self. And that made me feel gaslit. And so it was sticky for us because I kept saying, no, I'm this new person. And he's like, oh, but you need my protection. You need to be careful here and careful there. And I'm like, I don't want to be careful. I'm empowered. I don't want to be careful. And I don't think for a second that he consciously intended to gaslight me. But I do think I was definitely in that dynamic with him where he wasn't seeing me. He wasn't hearing me. And he was giving me a narrative that was no longer true for me. And I felt crazy because I kept thinking, he's right, I'm wrong. And this is the tricky thing about being gaslit is that you doubt that still small voice inside. I recently had a work situation where I was in a relationship with somebody where I felt like I frequently was being gaslit, or at least occasionally. And for a few years of being in this dynamic with this person, I kept feeling like something's not right. Like something is off. This isn't right. And when I would bring things up, I would be gaslit. Like, you're wrong. You're not seeing it right. You need to take responsibility. I can't believe the way you're acting. And honestly, towards the end of this relationship, it felt a little abusive to me. I felt like somebody was telling me my reality wasn't what my heart was telling me. And I think that's the hardest thing about being gaslit is your heart never lies. Okay, your heart never lies. Why? Because inside of us, I believe, is our God self. My partner calls it little Tricia, my inner Tricia. He calls it your inner Tricia. And I think we all have that. We have that still small voice, that spirit of God that is whispering the truth to us. And as emotional eaters, we're used to denying it. And so when we get gaslit, it kicks that up. It hooks right into that self-doubt. It hooks right into that sense of somebody else knows better. Let's defer to them. And it's so dangerous for us because we don't need to defer to somebody else. Yes, check with other people. I have coaches. I have wise people in my life who give me feedback, and I value that feedback and I take it seriously. But I need to be the last say on what's true for me. I need to check in with my heart. What advice meshes with my heart and feels true to me. And this is what I want you to do in stopping being gaslit is check in with your heart. What's true for you? And trust that. I don't think there's any more important journey we could be on as emotional eaters than learning to trust our heart. And don't you know, binge eating and overeating and being constantly numbed out with food will make you very disconnected from those messages inside. So we don't only address emotional eating so that we can lose weight and fit in our pants and feel good about our food choices. We need to address emotional eating so we can get back in touch with that still small voice, with that God voice inside that is protecting us and telling us the truth for us. And if we're constantly deferring to other people and we're constantly overeating, it's just one big fog and we don't know what to trust. So, I teach my clients to meditate, pray, journal, do things that will help them not only stop overeating, but also get clear on what those messages inside are. So with one of my relationships where I was being gaslit, I kept feeling like something's not right. Something's off. Like, this feels off to me. But then there were all these wonderful personality traits about this person. So I would dismiss that feeling. And I'd be like, no, this person knows better. They know best for me, and I need to trust them. But that still small voice inside, it never stopped. It never stopped. It kept saying, something's not right. Anyway, I wish I'd listened sooner. Okay, this is a lesson for me. I wish I'd listened sooner and taken action sooner. But I did take action ultimately, and I'm grateful that I did. And I'm in a different relationship with that person now where I'm not listening to their advice. I'm listening to me and following that. But the bottom line is, when we're being gaslit, it makes us doubt ourselves. It makes us feel crazy. It erodes our self-esteem and our self-confidence. So we must start paying attention. And the fact is, we are easy targets for this because we have years of negative self-talk, and dieting failures tell us we can't trust ourselves. We already are very codependent with other people in our lives, where we look to others to validate us, but we not only give them the power to tell us that we're good, but we might fall into the trap of giving them the power to gaslight us and to exploit our need to be liked, our need to be validated. That's why we're vulnerable. And of course, we grew up people pleasing because that's one of the ways that we got through our childhood. Let's please the alcoholic in the home who's raging. Let's be good girls. And so that need for approval stuck to us, and we carry it into our adult lives, and that makes us vulnerable as well. It might feel very familiar as an adult when you're in a relationship with somebody who's gaslighting you. It might feel familiar to patterns from your childhood. Was this happening with your parents? So take a look at your relationships. Where are you giving your power away? But once you recognize this is an issue, you got to take some action. And some of the ways you can turn this around are learn to spot it as it's happening, because awareness is powerful, right? That's the first step, is awareness. And if you can reality check with somebody else, that's really powerful. But even if you can't reality check with anybody else, nobody else knows about the dynamic, start writing things down. Like, he said this on Monday, so you don't question your memory. I need to do this more in my life. Also, stop defending yourself endlessly. When someone twists reality, you don't have to prove your truth to them. Know it for yourself. We have to start standing in what we know. Stop dismissing. Truthfully, we have to become our best advocates. So we need to strengthen our sense of self-trust. And you can do daily affirmations like, I trust my feelings, I trust my memory, I trust my gut. These are all part of you. They're all part of your God self. God might be speaking through your gut, right? I have a gut feeling, or this doesn't feel right. Trust that. Listen when you start saying these things. And have compassion for yourself. Let's not beat ourselves up for the mistakes we've made by being gaslit by other people. I'm included in this. Let's say, girl, you were doing the best you could. You didn't have a strong sense of yourself, or you fell into the old pattern of doubting yourself. Let's forgive that version of ourselves who fell down on the job and gave power away to somebody else. The next thing you can do is seek safe support. There's two people in my life who kept telling me that this person I was in relationship with wasn't doing me right. I have two very close friends, one being my partner, who kept reflecting to me that the relationship wasn't as strong and helpful for me as I was believing it was. And they kept standing for that truth. They kept saying to me, something's not right. That person is condescending to you. That person is twisting the truth. That person isn't serving you like you think they are. And I, of course, dismissed and defended. No, this is good for me. So I'm here to say that one of the ways you can turn things around is trust people who are trustworthy in your life. And honestly, I got out of the relationship that was not healthy for me just by listening to those two people. I didn't totally see what they were saying, but I trusted them and their judgment. And I had to kind of borrow from their judgment in order to take the right action and get out of the situation. And now that I'm out of it, I can see it for what it was. But for a while, I had to go on faith that they could see something I couldn't see. So seek safe support, trusted friends, a therapist, your Heal Your Hunger community. And also, I will say that the more you do get distance from a toxic relationship, the more you will see the truth. So taking steps, even when you don't totally see it, and giving yourself distance from this person will help you see more clearly. I've had a lot of feelings separating from people that weren't healthy for me and who were gaslighting me. It's not an easy break, right? You're in a sick pattern, so it's going to be a little messy getting out of it, and you're going to have a lot of feelings. Seek support to keep on that walk out of the relationship. And finally, of course, start using healthy coping tools to deal with the situation, not food. Food will keep you clouded and keep you in this sick pattern. So journaling, walking, praying, meditating, these are things you can do instead of numbing with food. And you need the clarity that comes from these healthy tools. Okay, my friend, if you recognize yourself in any of what I'm talking about, I hope this conversation has given you some clarity and strength. You're not too sensitive, you're not crazy, and you're not to blame. All right, so put the stick away. Stop beating yourself up. please hear me. You're on a healing journey. You're on a healing journey, and you're waking up. And I also want you to know and affirm to yourself, you are a loving, perceptive, beautiful soul who deserves to trust herself, believe in herself, and surround herself with people who honor her truth. If you'd like to keep talking about this, let's open up the conversation in the Secret Sauce group. That's a free Facebook group. For those who listen to the Heal Your Hunger show, go to the Secret Sauce to End Emotional Eating on Facebook, and let's keep this conversation going, because it's so important that we make changes in our lives and start standing for ourselves and walking away from situations that no longer serve us. We all have them, okay? So you're not bad if you have them. It's just you're on a healing path and you're getting better and better each day, which includes listening to the Heal Your Hunger show and taking a look at areas in your life where you need to up level. Okay? And I totally believe in you, and I know you can do this. I know I can do this. And it happens with God's grace, support from the universe, and friends who love you and care for you. And I love you, and I would love to be able to support you on your path. So please don't hesitate to reach out. Go to healyourhunger.com. If you want specific and step-by-step help with emotional eating, definitely take advantage of the complimentary breakthrough session that's on the website, healyourhunger.com. And if emotional eating is something you don't know if you are or have, also take the quiz on the website, healyourhunger.com. Love you so much. Thanks for listening. Let's heal together. I'll see you in the next show. If you're ready to get off the dieting roller coaster ride and finally make peace with food and with your body, talk to a Heal Your Hunger mentor about what steps you need to take based on your own history with food and weight. Go to healyourhunger.com and register for an emotional eating breakthrough session and see how fast you can experience real change. It's a complimentary evaluation, but there are limited spots available. So go to healyourhunger.com and register to speak with a mentor today.